meeting to order. Ask you please to stand. For this petition, remain standing for the pledge of the flag. Father, we're humbled this evening to come before you to ask for your wisdom and your guidance in all things that we do, say, and think here this evening as we deliberate the business of this great county that you have entrusted us with. We thank you for your guidance and your wisdom in all things. In Jesus' name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. Next item, consideration of a resolution to approve the agenda. Changes or corrections from anyone?
Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second. Motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? So carried. I'm going to tell y'all you're going to have to help me. Our clerk has asked that I help her hear who makes motions and seconds because it's kind of difficult to hear on the tape. So for that purpose, Commissioner Kiefer made the motion and Commissioner Loper, you seconded it? All right. Next item, consideration to approve the minutes for the July 21st, 2015 Commissioners meeting.
Make a motion to approve.
Second. Motion by Commissioner Loper, second by Commissioner Floyd to approve as written. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Should be noted that public comment should be limited to our agenda items only, and the correspondence documents from this meeting are located in the clerk's office and on the Board of Commissioners website. First item of old business. Consideration to approve to accept a bid and award a contract to Gulf Planet, LLC for 2015-2016 surplus vehicle auction services. This was previously tabled on 7/21 meeting, and I'm told that it needs to be tabled again. All items have not been received for our consideration in this matter, so may I have a motion to table it to our next meeting?
Make a motion to table to the next meeting.
Second. Have a motion by Commissioner Loper, second by Commissioner Kiefer to table to the next meeting. The date of that will be
August 18th.
August 18th. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Next item, consideration to approve funding to construct restrooms at 204 Early Street for Historic Effingham Society, which was previously tabled to 6/23/2015. Let's see. We were looking for additional information. I think we were looking for cost involved. We were looking for some other information. Mr. Loper, state your name for the record, please.
Richard Loper, Historic Effingham. The meeting, actually not the last meeting, but the meeting before that is when it all began. Some of those questions were asked then and answered at the last meeting.
Right. All right. I'm going to ask any commissioner or staff to correct me if I'm wrong. At the present time, the city of Springfield has taken an interest in acquiring this property in which these restrooms are located. I've also been told that they will possibly be interested in taking care of this. However, that comes from a staff member and has not been voted on or handled by my Springfield City Council. So at this point, I can't commit for them or tell you for a fact that's going to happen. So for this commission's purpose this evening, I think the only thing that we can actually take a vote on or consider is whether or not this commission is willing to do it at this present time, or whether or not to simply table this and push it on down the road until we see what happens. Do you have anything else to say?
Only that we just need this project, you know, really bad over there, and we've not asked for a lot of funding. You know, there's been some prior commissions that was really good to us, and they have helped us in the past, but it's been quite a while, and we really need these restrooms. If you've been down to our facility, you'll see how bad this is needed. And I don't know that the city, maybe it should, but I don't know that the city's involvement really should have any bearing on this decision. I'm looking at it from historic Effingham's view, but you know, I don't know. I'm just not sure if that should happen.
And on that was, I talked to Toss this week about it, and he said he and Brett had some discussion, but Brett had not had time to take it to the board at Springfield formally in any way, and there were a few details to still work out. So I think the point was not so much that it's on Springfield, but if we recognize that we may be in a time frame where we may be transferring it to Springfield, we would not necessarily want to spend the money to build the restrooms first and then transfer it to Springfield. You know,
it would be nice if the county donated money anyway. It's a big help for Effingham County, and I'm speaking from a commissioner and I'm on the Historic Society, but a member of it, and I think that's important to the people of Effingham County. There's a lot of people come into Effingham County. It's a big, and they spend a lot of money. They have big groups coming here, and even if the city taking it over, we can still help them with the restroom.
I understand that, but then we have a dilemma. And I'm speaking for myself now, and I'm not against your project, and I'm totally not against historic Effingham. But when we start looking at things like that, then we've got other nonprofits that are just as viable for one reason or another. So, and this is not in our budget. It wasn't brought up before budget time, so it's not something that we've got budgeted, so it's something we would have to do a budget amendment and find money to do. To simply state that this is a project that is worthwhile, I totally agree with that. However, I get phone calls just about every day from somebody that feels like their road needs to be paved, and it's a worthwhile project as well. So we have a multitude of worthwhile projects, but
Most of those, Mr. Kessler, most of those aren't bringing tourists to Effingham County, and I do know those are important projects, but I don't know of any of those that are bringing tourists here and spending money here in our county. I don't know of any of them that are.
I don't even know all the different entities that are set up similar to the historic Effingham site. But again, if we give this group 30,000, and there's 5 other groups, and that within a few meetings, there's going to be hands out for other groups.
That building belongs to the Effingham County. Today it belongs to the Effingham County. We're not selling that to some John, Dick, and Harry that comes up and wants money for something. Okay. The building belongs to Effingham County.
all right. If it's the wishes of Mr. Loper, he brought this to this board before we previously tabled it. If it is your wishes, then we will hold this and take a vote as to whether or not to fund it or not. If it is your wish to allow this to be tabled until we see what's going to happen to this disposition of that property, then we will so table it, if this board will allow it. So I'm asking you, what would you like this board to do?
Well, this is my 3rd trip here,
Okay.
and I'm for historic Effingham, but I'm also for Effingham County, and I don't want to come back. I would if it was necessary, but I don't see where it's necessary. I would just rather you take a vote and we'll just have to move on with our project.
I have one question, it's probably from, Administrator. If we were to do this, I suppose we would bid it and do it, and then there would be a contract actually. That's what I'm trying to figure.
It's-
Can you just vote to get the money that you got?
Money, you need this nice, a bigger restaurant. We need to spend 30,000, can be done for.
Well, I'm just saying, do we need to bid it and approve the contract?
Let me ask the question this way, which is a different subject, which is where I brought up the question that I had about the law that we had to follow before about, giving to nonprofits. The thing that's different is we own the building. Okay, so we do own the building, but with us owning the building, yet a nonprofit is the one requesting it of us because we allow them free use. It's a mixed bag, something I think we might even have a legal opinion on. That we probably
I know.
can't see it, we haven't reviewed.
I'm just trying to figure out how we just,
All right,
how you just vote without a contract or something, or
Yeah,
some kind of agreement.
zero, or that, I mean, can we just fix the bathroom that's there without doing all this?
This is not a restroom there now. It's just a building. It's just a block
We're
building.
building a restaurant.
There is no
The
handicap.
building is there.
There is no handicapped accessible
Entire
restroom.
new restaurant.
Well, within an existing building.
Men and women. You gotta sketch of it and you
I don't know, we're
The
remodeling.
building's there, but it's got to be, the bathroom, there's no bathroom there.
And we're happy if y'all would like to contract this out, or whatever. We're not asking for the money. We just want the restroom.
Yeah, I mean, we just have, we have.
Sure, and we're willing to do whatever your wishes would be in getting it. Either we'll take the money and do it, or either we'll be happier if you would just take it on and do it.
all right, so the way I was headed, and it sounded like we started discussion before we made this fact, was it is the wishes of Mr. Lofer for this board to deliberate and actually take an action of some type this evening. So y'all have asked questions. If you've got more, then I believe the proper thing to do would be for this board to decide to take bids and as to actually the cost of doing this, and then we would be taking action later as to whether or not to award a contract. I don't think we can simply decide we're going to spend $30,000 to put a bathroom in a building.
So motion to get bids to make the improvements.
I think that would be the proper way to move forward.
A motion as to if it's the intent to build a bathroom and obtain bids, but it's the intent of the board to move forward with such.
And it's not, is it part of the short-term program?
It's not in our work program or in our budget in any way. We could possibly have it put into our short-term work program by an action of this board.
I think that we would want to complete our conversation with Springfield first.
Well,
And nothing's been presented to their council.
Not to the council, toss it in the bread, top it, and it's
So-
on to the council.
I'm telling you, my opinion is, if it's the board's wishes, the board can simply say, no, we're wanting to fund this, and you can vote it down, period. The way to proceed, if the board wishes, is to direct staff to get quotes to do the work and bring it back to this board for action at that time.
Well, for
Which
myself,
you would have to do
I would say
budget.
I'm not prepared personally vote for doing it tonight, but if we do vote it down, it doesn't mean I would never be inclined to. But I know that I left the last meeting thinking that Springfield was going to consider it, and that's what I was thinking coming into this. So I think until those things are finished, I don't feel like I don't have
Do you feel like you would do the vote after you decide what Springfield decides?
Well, it would depend on what they decide. If they decide they want the building and we work out some kind of deal where they're taking the building, I'd be inclined to let them take the building and then build the facility, build the restroom. But if it ends up that they just don't want it, and it's not going to happen, then that would be a time to look at it again. So I think we have to finish that conversation with them and determine if they're going to actually take it over or not. Because they should.
We could always, if we did do if Springfield did take it, we could always recoup our costs and have that part of the agreement, and get our, the cost of the bathroom, if we did that. I'm just looking at it from every angle.
If it's legally feasible to do that, but I have to know that before I vote for it.
If it belongs to the county, first, if that belongs to, the building belongs to the county.
But it's.
So what would be illegal to put
That's
that?
not, I'm not saying it is, I'm asking that question because it's operated by, isn't it operated by a nonprofit and the nonprofit's making the request? That's a differing, I'm just trying to be legal, honestly, Reggie, I'm not trying to create a stumbling block, I'm asking a question. So if the attorney says it's perfectly legal, let him say that.
All right,
Okay.
I'm asking for legal opinion. It's my desire, and I don't have a vote, but it's my desire that we don't kill this by saying no. I would prefer that this board allow us to get quotes to do the work and bring it back to this board for action. We can be doing that at the same time, working with Springfield, and that way one thing doesn't hold the other up. If it is our building, so I mean, we can get quotes to put a bathroom facility within that building. We have the legal right to do that, I think. So that would be my wishes, unless I can't do that.
Well, we would certainly need to follow our purchasing policy.
If we wind up doing it, we're going to have to get quotes and everything to do it anyway.
I don't have a problem with that because getting quotes and things like that bind us to nothing. So we can be obtaining all the information and working on what we can and cannot do and will do between now and then, that's fine with me.
So if someone would be willing to give me a motion to get quotes to perform this work while we are negotiating with the city of Springfield.
Because frankly, the better the quotes, the more advantageous it might work out to be.
That's
I mean,
correct.
do we have enough information to put it bid?
I could go on.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, there's all kind of, finish schedule, there's.
Help us out.
Does staff have any problem with us doing that?
Make a recommendation as to how.
Staff work for this board, will do whatever they're gonna tell us to.
Well, you want your contract again.
It is sometimes a little difficult to bid a sketch to multiple parties because what you said, finish schedules, what faucets are they, what fixtures are they? I think we probably need a little more specificity to that. You tell us to, we'll certainly do that. We'll put that together in a way to get it out.
It's a couple of years old, but your staff has actually already come up with a cost.
Who in staff estimated the cost?
It wasn't me,
I
I
don't
can
know
say. I
who
don't
would be
know.
qualified to do that.
All I can say is it wasn't me. I don't-
Jimmy Parker is the one that came up with
There were several people from the county that looked at the property, and that's been several years ago, and we thought it was going to be funded then, and it later got squashed, but it was done by the county already, the cost, so.
Have you seen a copy of that, Paul?
Y'all have a copy of it.
Was it sent to you electronically or?
Oh my gosh, it's 3 years old, I'm not sure.
Did you say it was?
But it was in writing somehow?
Oh, yeah, it's like 6 or 8 pages of information that the county put together concerning this restaurant and this
Go back and got all
building.
that information.
Probably, I can look through his stuff.
So
and
did
see.
Jimmy Parker. Jimmy Parker was the one.
And I actually mentioned all this the first 2 meetings ago. I mentioned all this was out there. And I thought y'all were aware of it because y'all mentioned it was old and it was this and it was that. So someone was aware in this room, so I don't know. But if you do this, of course you have to get a motion, but what you're thinking about is just getting quotes, non-binding, just getting quotes from the general contractors in the neighborhood. And
We would have to do that before. We can't just give you money.
oh, look, I'm not.
We can't.
Yeah, I stated my very first minute up here at the first meeting, I'm not wanting your money, I'm wanting the restrooms.
We
That's
can't
all
go
we
out
want.
and just do it without getting quotes. So all I'm saying is let's follow our purchasing policy and get the process started, so we're not just.
If we were to follow purchasing policy, would we have to have a hard plan to quote, or how would that work?
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily a hard plan, we just need specifications, like it's a mowing faucet, it's, you know, whatever, so that everybody's bidding on the same thing. And while I'm sure Jimmy's numbers were accurate, you know, he put numbers on a specific, something specific, you know, specific commodity, specific sink. And if I just ask for bids, I'm gonna get different ones from different people, so we have to give some parameters for it.
How do we get the specifications detailed?
Well, and Jimmy may have done that, and I apologize, so 3 years old around here is like a needle in a haystack.
Right, it's a lot of information, but I'm not sure if the specs are there.
And it may be in Adam's office, it may be in digital file, I will look for it for you and see if I can come up with the information.
Well, I'll say on my behalf, I apologize that you're having to take meeting after meeting and we're kind of piecemealing this, but I'm learning some additional things as we go, so, and I think new ideas are maybe being brought forward that might make it feasible, so we'll just have to, if it takes a little longer, it's better than at least we're getting these steps.
But are you guys thinking that if a deal is worked out, or even looks like it's gonna work out in the next year or so, that maybe this thing with Springfield will avoid any of this? Is that sort of what?
Well, if they get to
What you're
where they
thinking?
own the building, they're going to do the work.
Right.
We can't do it.
Okay.
And I don't know of anything in the law that allows us to give money to a nonprofit.
Well, see, I think that's where I was getting crossed up.
It's the-
And so frankly, if we were doing the work to our own building directly, and we're not putting money into a nonprofit, but we're putting money into the building.
We used to do it, if that's not be against the law, we did it for years.
I know.
Anything that we did for years.
So many years ago,
comfortable.
commissioners decided they were gonna stop giving the historical society any money. So the first year, they cut a third of it out. The second year, they cut another third of it out. And the third year, it was finished. So evidently, it's not against the law because we did it for years.
And doing it, don't
I could read it to you, and I did read it that one time, and that's why we had to start doing the contract services with the chamber, because the way it was being done was not legal. And I'm all for doing it as long as we do it right. So, I can find it.
We don't want you to break the law either.
That's right, that's the goal, is just that we get it done right. That's,
I mean, I want to do anything that promotes Effingham County, and I know that y'all do a good job of doing that. I just want to do it within the perimeters of the law.
right, that's it.
So, would it be too burdensome that if we can get something that has some type of specifications?
No, sir. You know, and I'm looking for it now. I'll find what I'm doing. We'll put something else together. Either way.
Richard, would you have it?
I have a copy of it, yes.
Okay, well,
I'm
one
happy to
or the other,
supply,
we should be able
happy to
to come
supply
up
it to you as well.
Yes, sir. That'll be helpful.
Well, may I have a motion to move forward in that manner? From somebody?
I make a motion to move forward, that staff figure out what we need and maybe bid it out, and then notify the commissioners, and then we can make a vote on whether we want to do it or not.
I have a problem with the motion saying maybe figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Okay,
And continue conversation with Springfield.
correct. Is that okay with you?
Yep. Yeah, that's fine.
All right, so I have a motion by Commissioner Loper, a second by Commissioner Floyd. All in favor? Any opposed? So carried. We made a little progress.
Thanks,
Believe
guys.
me, we made a little progress.
When's your next meeting? I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Well, it happens quick.
I don't have anything against any of you, but I prefer to be doing something else, so.
Well, I'd like for you to come visit with me.
Thank you.
All right. First item of new business. Consideration to approve the second reading of an ordinance for conveyance of 1.993 acres of property located on Old Augusta Road. we approve the first reading on June 23rd, 2015. Any questions come up with anyone since then? I'll take a motion.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Loper, second by Commissioner Kiefer to approve the second reading. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Next item, consideration to approve to accept a grant from Georgia Trauma Care Network Commission and approve a budget amendment in the amount of the award to be received.
Yes, sir. 911, I'm sorry, EMS has been asked to provide paperwork to participate in a grant that is being done by the Georgia Trauma Care Network. The Georgia Trauma Care Network was established by a House bill by the state. It is funded by the governor in part, also by several foundations and by Verizon. As such, they have said that they have some additional funds that they will allow to be distributed to purchase any equipment that will enhance the ability to care for trauma patients. As such, EMS, Wanda McDevitt, has requested to participate in this. We see no issues with it. She has gone ahead and filled out the paperwork. We're simply bringing it to the board so that you're aware of it based off of our grant policy and ask for your approval. We do not know the exact amount that will be rewarded to the EMS, but we believe it to be somewhere between $5,000 and $10,000.
It says up to $10,000, so if we get $10,000, that'd be very good.
Yes, sir. They do this every several years, and usually it's somewhere between that amount of money. So basically, we would have a budget amendment to increase revenue for the grant, and then an increase in the expenditures accordingly.
Can we find a grant for a veteran?
All right. Motion.
Make a motion to approve order number 1.
Motion by Commissioner Loper, second by Commissioner Floyd. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Next item, consideration to approve to disperse funding to Effingham Hospital.
Yes, sir. As y'all know, we entered into an MOU agreement with the hospital. It is in conjunction with the contract that we have with the hospital, where we basically fund them $3.6 million a year. That is out of generally tax levy that is done each year. You will see the detail of those reconciliations along with a summary on page, it shows 2 of 16. That summary is basically the overview of where we were at the end of 2014. If you remember, we expended $529,000 at that time to disperse those funds to the hospital. We had about $542,000 that was outstanding at that time, and then have dispersed the first quarter of 2015, which was $690,000. The difference for the second quarter of 2015 is about $400,000. Right now, in looking at it, you know, we had looked at the fact that whatever funding was received in that calendar year would go to pay for that $3.6 million. So at this point, our funding right now for the calendar year 2014, which will close our fiscal year, is about $529,000 below where we would want it to be, and we will need to make a budget amendment for this prior year for that. However, going forward, we will have the tax levy that we just did, that was approved by the state this past week, and those funds will go to make up for the $690,000 and the $400,000 that we'll get from the district.
Basically, we covered this in the past, you just let us know where we stand.
That's correct.
Update.
And probably in a couple of weeks, when we get the trial balance finalized for the audit, we will be making any budget amendments at that time.
All right. Any other questions? Motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve alternative number 1, staff recommendation.
Second. Motion by Commissioner Jones, second by Commissioner Loper. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So carried. Next item, consideration to approve a final plat for Staffordshire Estates Phase 3 and accept the warranty deed for the related infrastructure.
Yes, sir. George Shaw, zoning administrator. Staffordshire is a subdivision on Blue Jay. They have been building phases as need arises. This is phase 3, Aqueduct Road Lane, I think. Plat has been reviewed and approved by staff. The deed has been forwarded to the county attorney for approval. The roads have been inspected and approved by Public Works Department. Water and sewer system has been inspected and approved by staff. And we have an infrastructure maintenance security for $12,199, and all appropriate final plat fees have been paid. There is one issue that has come up with this phase. Off-site drainage has been clogged, and there is some standing water when the inspector went to the site on part of the road. The inspector has been off-site to look at what could be done. He's seen a couple of beaver dams in this low area. There's a kind of a wetland next to Staffordshire, and there are some pipes here clogged on the Kinder Morgan property on the other side of this wetland. We would have to get permission to clean those. We currently do not have easements for either of those properties, so we have no ability to clean that out right now. So the question is...
Do they have any control over off-site drainage?
Currently, no.
Okay, so that has nothing to do, that's our problem, is that right?
That's the problem. This has come up. It was not anticipated when we approved the plans, obviously.
But I'm saying, do they have, if they don't have any ownership or control over off-site drainage, does it have anything to do with this vote, really? I mean, if it does tell me if I understand.
We don't directly control that out. It's across private property, which we don't have easements on.
We don't control it, they don't control it.
But what we do control is, and what we need you to be aware of is you're about to make a vote to accept infrastructure that doesn't drain properly. And it will fail if it does not become proper drainage. What we believe is that we have done a visual inspection and we understand what the cause is. We just need to obtain the permissions to do it. And that's not, we don't have the ability to force Kinder Morgan or Georgia Power to allow us to make the improvements. However, I don't know why they wouldn't.
But I think what Vera is saying is this particular developer with this particular piece of property has nothing to do with the problem.
They've met their goals as required by Effingham County for us to accept this. That goal. We made the rules and they met them.
They met
That's correct.
The rules from a previous planner review probably in 2004, correct, yes. And because our ordinance doesn't have any sunset date on the approval of plans, they will continue to build based on a set of plans approved in 2004, and there's nothing we can do to remedy this.
And I guess I'm saying, and we have no legal recourse, if they have no legal way to go fix the property they don't own anyway. Like, there's no way to make them do anything about it. So we just could stay in limbo or accept it. They already built on there.
Drainage. And I don't know the answer to this, but there's got to be some type of legal remedies that counties have.
There are, and if you do work in other jurisdictions, you can't discharge water onto adjacent properties without some sort of flow easement or the ability to maintain it. Again, going back to 2004, I can't fix that. It should have never been allowed in 2004, yet it was, and here we stand today.
And I guess that's not, I'm trying to think it through, is we set up a system where if they've done everything they can do and they can't even legally get on the property and fix it, the only way that it can be resolved is if we take it, because then we do have the power to fix it.
to fix it.
Yeah. Well, otherwise, the citizens that already are in there are in a fine.
And I don't believe anybody here said not to take it. We
I
simply said it's
get
an
that.
issue you need to be
And I'm making
aware
my
of.
point because if I'm wrong, somebody tell me.
The staff is making full disclosure, there is an issue, there's a problem.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But I don't think the
and we need to know that.
Yes.
Yeah, full disclosure, but do they have the ability to fix it?
They
No,
do.
ma'am. Not at all.
No more than we do.
No more than, but we
We have
probably
more
have a
leverage.
little more leverage.
I'm not saying they should, no.
We do have the ability to do it.
Yeah, again, basically, there's a pipe that's clogged and a little lever dams, and
Yeah,
we're not believing we can
massive.
fix it if we can just obtain the proper permission to get on.
all right.
And as you said, it could be as minimal as a beaver dam.
He believes there are at least 2 beaver dams and clogged pipes.
I don't think it's a major issue of fixing it. Again, it's just as property, they don't have the ability to legally to get onto it because that's solve that issue.
I know somebody with some dynamite.
That would do it.
That's what they do, they blow up the beaver dams back there.
So when did we know about that problem?
During the inspection.
Inspection and construction. I mean, it was brought up during construction, and I'll be honest with you, in fact, I think this came up a couple of years ago.
I mean, because was it in hearing?
Excuse me?
Yeah, the staff report.
No.
I don't know that I read it.
No.
All right.
I did not add that into the staff report because the inspector had not been out there when I wrote this.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah.
When did we know so that, because I hate, after I've already made a decision about something, to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah. We knew there was an issue, we didn't know what we believe the solution was at
Right.
that time. Brandon had not had a chance to go out and investigate.
Mr. Scott, you're out there, I wouldn't want to pass this without giving you an opportunity to say something, if you want to say something. I think you brought this to everybody's attention.
Yes, sir. I'm Paul Scott. I'm the agent for the developers. Well, I guess I am the developer for the subdivision as well. We noticed that water was backing up as we were doing it. This is a property that we bought. It was a foreclosure. The bank had it. We bought it. It was partially developed. We came in and finished it all per the plans, per the specs, per everything. And we saw that some of the water was backing up. We noticed it came downstream. We thought it was coming 2 directions because the county has a spray field that looked like it was maybe bringing a little more water than it should. And at the same time downfield, the drainage was getting backed up. And I knew that Georgia Power, somebody had built a plan or roadway. Is it Georgia Power?
Yeah, we believe so.
Yeah, and so we looked at the aerials and you can almost see where the water was blocking it. And so that's when, during the inspections, and we got together with the county manager, Mr. Shaw, and we talked about it. And we just don't have any, we've done everything we're supposed to do in our subdivision and built it to the plan. We don't have any way to tell Georgia Power to unclog their pipe down the road or anything like that, so.
All right. I just wanted to be sure you had an opportunity to speak if you wanted to.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Somebody give me a motion.
But we do have the ability to have Georgia Power clean out the pipe down the road, right?
I'm sorry, ma'am, we have,
We do have the ability to have Georgia Power clean out the pipe down the road, do we not?
it's not on the road now. This is, you've got a little exhibit underneath each well.
It's
It
not on the
flows
road.
across the land. It's just
It's
flowing
on
across the
private
land.
land, it's a pipe on our private land, is that what you're saying?
I don't know if it's on theirs or Kinder Morgan's right away. It's on that gas easement that runs through the.
If it's on Georgia Power's land, they get partial, give anything to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It appears to me to be within the Kinder Morgan gas easement. Now, who has fee simple ownership, I don't know the answer to. That's what we have to figure out.
But you're not saying any of the subdivisions holding water right now anyway, right? It's buildable, it's perfectly buildable.
There, bad rains, it maybe comes out into the road a few inches out of the curb line, but no, it's generally down into the bottom.
The lots are higher.
Okay.
Main thing is that the water is allowed to keep backing up. It's
Build it up.
going to
This is great,
eventually.
right? You know, I know.
But I'm with you, I believe they've done everything by the book, is what the requirements were. think that's what staff has said in the report.
I believe this is my district, so I'm prepared to make a motion.
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion that we follow county policy analysis, county's policy to approve final plats and accept infrastructure and right of ways that meet county standards. And I recommend that we accept the staff recommendation. And approve final plat for Stafford Shire subdivision phase 3 and accept the right of ways therein.
Motion by Commissioner Jones, second by Commissioner Floyd. All in favor? Any opposed? So carried. Next item, consideration to approve amendments to the aging services contract for 2016.
Yes, sir. Each year we get a new aging services contract. This is for the senior citizens meals. As you know, we do both congregate meals and home delivered meals. In this particular year, they've awarded us $11,108 in congregate meals and $18,999 in home delivered meals. The total budget is $125,961, which we are required to match some in kind, $4,021 in in-kind donations and $4,020 in volunteer client contributions. Those items have already been budgeted and are part of the services that we already offer in senior citizens, so there'll be no other funding required. This particular program is one of those that helps us to see after our aging members here in Effingham County, and is very vital to that department. We ask for your approval of this new contract.
Okay, so it's the 4321 and the 4020 that we do the matching in kind. So our portion basically is the 8341.
That's correct.
Okay, I wasn't completely clear about that, but okay.
And we do so because of the fact that when we actually do the contract of these meals, we do a cost analysis. That cost analysis includes our entire budget, which includes personnel, which includes building, which includes electricity and so forth.
Okay.
So we're matching all that already within our current budget.
All right.
Any more questions? Motion.
Make a motion to approve, number 1.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Loper, second by Commissioner Jones. All in favor? Any opposed? So carried. Next item, review of the 2015 retirement plan quarterly update.
As requested by this board in several different meetings, we are going over our retirement plan. This actually is for the period of December 31st, 2014 through June 30th, 2015. Within this review, we are doing the 457B, which is the employees portion of our retirement, the 401A, which is an employer portion of the retirement, and also our defined benefit plan. The reason that these particular pieces of information has become so proponent is that for the first year, rather than what has been GASB 25 and 27, we are actually required, based off of GASB, the new GASB statements 67 and 68, to include a portion of this information within our financial statements. That is the defined benefit plan. If I can give you an overview, I think I gave you a staff report 2 or 3 months ago, trying to give you an overview because some of this is actually pretty complicated. In the past, we basically put this information within the notes of our financial statements. We are now required to actually put them on our financial statements as far as the defined benefit plan. And the nomenclature goes like this. There's a TPL. That TPL means total pension liability. There is also then a measurement date. That measurement date says how much are those plans' assets worth versus the overall picture. So if you take the TPL minus what those plan assets are, okay, you get what's called a net pension liability. that net pension liability for the DB plan must now appear on our financial statements, okay? With that said, we're trying to update and give the board a little bit more background information. Rather than just the staff report, we're actually giving you the background and the reports that that staff report is based off of. In addition to that, we will also be giving you the individual monthly statements so that you can see those transactions. In conjunction with Jenny Nichols, who is our financial advisor, we have pulled together this information and the facts and findings on the 457B, 401A, and also the DB plan. As you can see in each one of those is the facts and findings. You'll see the distributions that are listed, the contributions that are listed, and the actual value of those, the plan investments. We have also added within the information currently what forfeitures are. We have added in there what our actual fees are. You'll see those represented in 2014, 2015, so that you're aware of that. We have an asset allocation. You'll see that on page 2 of the staff report. And we have Jenny Nichols here this evening to go over exactly where we stand, any recommendations that she has. And Jenny has another engagement that she needs to go to, so we're going to go ahead and let her go over the actual asset allocation and the year-to-date performance.
Good evening, everybody. I am Jenny Nichols, for the record, LPL Financial. We're going to go over page 2, I believe, which is the asset allocation. They're moving me forward because we've had a death in the family, and I apologize for I have to leave. The asset allocation currently right now for the defined benefit plan is equities, which are stocks, 65.26%. And that is at $5,710,095.10. The fixed income portion is at 27.67%, and that is $2,421,247.89. The cash component is $618,399.52, and that's at 7.07%, bringing the total value as of June 30th, $8,749,742.51. I do want to add to that as of yesterday, because I know you also have reports in there in your backup reports as of in July as well. But as of right now, it is $8,832,531. The market has had quite a bit of fluctuation. I'm sure that you guys have noticed this. A lot of information and actions that have taken place throughout our economy as well as globally, as you guys can imagine, with Greece that has left a nice little mark on all of the markets. China had a rough run within the second quarter. They were up really high and then they were down really low, but they still had a positive quarter. All of these do affect the overall value of your portfolio. I will go through the year-to-date indexes. These, of course, are as of June 30th. They have changed as of to this point. The Dow Jones up 2.78, the S&P up 3.23, the NASDAQ up 10.01. NASDAQ component, as you guys probably know, is the small cap region of equity investments. The world index at 8.93 up, and Barclays U.S. aggregate, which is more of the fixed income market that you guys are looking at, was over at up 1%. There's a couple of things that I just want to give you as components to think about. The earnings have been reported for over 2/3 of the S&P 500 as of yesterday, with a lot of positive surprises as well as some negatives, but with a 3-to-1 margin, being more positive than negative than we were expecting. With that, I do want to note here that the S&P 500 has never risen 7 consecutive years in its history, although 2015 may be the first time in history. That's something that you guys really need to know. Although I do think that this year's returns on the S&P 500 are going to be very, very modest. I do think that that's a milestone within the markets. Going forward for the rest of the year, the equity funds, and I do mean mutual funds, have shown a great inflow of investments within the equity components of the mutual fund markets, which is going to help your portfolio as well. Going back to your equity percentage of 65.26% is where you're at right now, and your investment policy statement that states that you have a growth with income component. You really shouldn't take more risk, and please keep in mind that, of course, pension assets are not an individual asset. Much like, Mr. Floyd will have his own IRA, or Mr. Deloach, or Ms. Jones, they're going to have their own IRA or their own 401k, and they may choose to be a little bit more risky at this point. I would tell them to go ahead and be a little bit more risky if they felt compelled to do so in the equity markets, because they will outperform all the other indices going forward for the rest of the year. But with the pension assets, I don't advise doing that, because you have a model that's set forth that we're investing long-term to go over decades and future generations, which you've already met your liability, which she was talking about for Gatsby. You were actually overfunded. As of over a year ago, we're waiting for the actuarial report, which is in draft form right now from your actuary, to see where you stand to date. You're currently, we don't know where it is, but I assure you you're overfunded, because last year we were overfunded by 135%, and we are up. So it's all good news. It's just that you need to report it on your financial statement at this point. And as far as one other component for your bond investments, the Fed is moving closer to raising rates. However, it hasn't happened at this point. The short-term yields have increased a little bit, but typically bond yields will not increase until the Fed actually takes action. They usually don't do it beforehand. So that'll be something that may be a future plus for you guys, but we're looking for that in the second half of the year. That's where we're at right now. I wouldn't advise you changing anything at this point, but that's kind of where the markets are right now and where it would hit you guys. Question for me?
I have a question. I don't want to get ahead of anything, but it is regarding the recommendation and the alternatives, because under staff recommendation it says it's recommended the board choose alternative 2, but alternative 2 says change investment platform as the board indicates.
No, it should be alternative 1. No changes.
Okay, that's what.
Very good question. I didn't see that.
Because that's what I thought you said.
Yeah, it does say that at the bottom. It is alternative 1.
Okay.
Please correct that.
Everything else sounded good. And I didn't question that, so I was on that.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
Comments? That it?
Actually, we need to go through a couple more things. There's just some P's and Q's. As you know,
How long is this going to take?
a couple of minutes.
Okay.
As you know, you and several of the commissioners asked us to review some of the process and procedures. We are doing so. We believe that there are several compliance issues, possibly errors in compliance. We've reviewed the 945. We believe that's now in compliance. However, we are also reviewing some forfeitures and hardships. We actually have engaged with the Hunter McLean Exley and Dunn attorney that we have for benefits. She is reviewing the plan and reviewing those issues. So staff is requesting that hopefully within the next 4 weeks that we have a more engaged discussion with the board regarding some of those issues to gain direction specifically from y'all as to what you would like to do.
And some something that's addressed somewhat what you're saying down here under reporting daily process. It says 945 tax payments are now up to date, and you would change the reporting hours to include personnel and holiday leave. Those are some corrections that you've made to things already that you found
That's
were
correct.
accurate, right?
Yes,
And then you're still working on a few more.
yes, ma'am.
On a positive note, I'll say that we've requested received online access now so that we can access those reports online monthly. I love that. So, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. We got that facilitated with Jenny, and so those will be in your box on a monthly basis so that it's not just quarterly that you're reviewing this information.
And otherwise, you're just making us aware that there are some compliance things that you're working on that could crop up and you're waiting to find the answers.
That's correct, yes, ma'am.
All right. How long of time do you need to slot to go over those things?
I would say we would probably need at least an hour to an hour and a half session.
Yes, now, is that what you say, a workshop or something?
Yes, ma'am.
Unless you want us to do it within a meeting, now, that's going to be here.
Can you do an hour workshop?
Yes, ma'am.
So you said 4
This is a tag team effort, HR and finance, because of the fact that it does affect our financials at this time. We are tag teaming everything together with dual controls, as has been requested. And so Kevin and I are very much going through pieces as we go.
Kevin Hearn, I'm the interim director of HR. I recognize some of you. I just want to say we can probably summarize this in an hour for you. Once we isolate and identify what problems or compliance issues we are having, it'll be easier to describe it, tell what the remedy is, and how we go forward to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Some of those things, though, have been also the discussion, and I don't think Kevin was a part of some of this, as far as the trust document itself and changes we want to make to the trust document. That's why I believe it may take just a little bit longer.
Can you have this done by the first meeting in September?
We have already requested that, and at this point, we believe the attorney will have that for us very soon.
Anyone opposed to 3:30 workshop before
That's
the
fine.
3's to?
What is the date of the first meeting in September? First day?
Okay, September.
Okay.
3:30 workshop,
Okay.
September 1st.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
Good deal. All right, I need a motion from the board.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Before you make it. I don't understand why, we have Kevin, and I think he's fully qualified.
We will deal with that in the workshop, Commissioner Mosley,
In the
please.
workshop a month from now.
Yes, sir. Please.
All right.
I need a motion as to action on the item of business before the board right now.
I'll make a motion that we approve staff recommendation, alternative number 1, and make no changes at this time.
Second.
Motion and a second. Motion by Commissioner Jones, second by Commissioner Kiefer. All in favor? Any opposed? Let the record show.
I can't get no questions answered, I'm not gonna vote on it.
Well, the
And I know
item
why y'all want that, but anyway.
no, the item that you're wanting to talk about is exactly what we're going to be dealing with in the workshop. So, I mean,
Yeah, y'all sort of got it ahead of the workshop. Anyway, go ahead, I'm through.
okay.
I know y'all want to.
Next item.
We're in the dark.
Next item, consideration to approve to amend the retirement plan document to reflect years of service from the employee hire date and approve for the chairman to execute a resolution of this amendment. And if I may, this has come up, I know I've talked to 1 or 2 commissioners, we've had some employees that left and our actual document, the plan year starts like in January, and these folks came to work in like June. And I don't think it was ever our intention to try and take somebody's money that had put 5 years of service in.
Yes, sir. That's
and
correct.
their time started in the middle of the year rather than the first.
We basically have a trust document that's based on a calendar year. It also has certain stipulations in there about the number of hours that have to be worked during that year. We have consulted Kevin and myself and Toss in several phone conversations with our defined benefit attorney. She recommends that these changes be made so that we actually show that the vesting is from a 12-month-to-month consecutive from the date of hire. So we are requesting to amend this plan to take care of that issue because of the fact that we believe staff and employees have been educated to the fact that it was from the date of hire, and I'll let Kevin discuss that a little bit more.
All of the documentation that we give to employees, educating them about the vesting in our retirement plans, all indicate a hire date, the clock starts on vesting, 12 consecutive months, and at the completion of 5 years, you're vested 100% because we have a cliff vesting program. However, that was not the actual language in the document. The document went from a January 1 to a December 31st plan year. So as Chairman Kessler was referring, if you started in June, there was a chance that first year would not count towards your vesting. So after talking with Ms. Zapanik, she drafted this as the amendment to actually bring the plan in line with the understanding and the education of the staff and employees of Effingham County.
And it's my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, that we had this happen before and they actually hired an attorney and the attorney kind of directed the fact that we needed to pay it.
That particular situation, if I may, was actually determined to be an omission of hours to be counted. It initially appeared to be the same situation that this is addressing. However, it was discovered to be something different. The hours were calculated and it was paid based upon the plan.
Okay, basically she has drafted an amendment for us to adopt that, in short, it changes the wording so that the wording now properly allows for what the intent was always supposed to be.
Yes, ma'am.
Or what the intent has been expressed to employees to be.
Yes.
Right.
We wanted their 5-year working time to count for them.
Correct.
The way it's worded that one in the law, so.
Yes.
Okay.
And we've settled, made the former employee whole.
We have not yet. We need
Okay.
this in place to be able to do that.
Yes.
We have told him.
We're going to amend this first.
Gotcha.
Well,
Is this retroactive or is this going forward?
This is, it actually is dated as of January 1st because it's a calendar year plan. However, it will be retroactive back to the time in which we fully adopted this plan, which would be back into 2008.
I should make that part of the motion. In order for why not? Because that way it would be clear.
Sure.
Made retroactive back to the day that we adopted the plan in 2008.
Yes, ma'am.
I think that would be good. Anybody follow that? Okay. I'll make a motion that we approve staff recommendation alternative number 1 and amend the plan document to reflect the defined measurement period to be from an employee's hire date and subsequent anniversary of that date. And that we make it retroactive as the date that we adopted the plan in 2008.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Jones, second by Commissioner Floyd. All in favor? Any opposed? Let the record show. Motion passes with Commissioner Loper voting against. All right. Next item, consideration to approve documents with BB&T and to the chairman to execute the signed agreement and a resolution with ACCG for the purchase of patrol vehicles for the Sheriff's Department.
Let me first state this is not only for the Sheriff's Department, but it is also for administrative vehicles. There's 2 portions of this. One is for the Sheriff's vehicles that was budgeted this current year. As you remember, this last year we did the same thing, in which we have payments of $156,000. We are in the midst of securing another $600,000 for an approximate payment of $120,000 per year, and then also an additional $300,000 for payment for administrative vehicles As you recall, this past year, we talked about pooling of vehicles, not necessarily having a vehicle for every single department and staff person just to go to the post office or just to go to the bank. And so we have put process and procedures in place, such as postage meters and so forth, to try and alleviate some of that day-to-day routine and driving. As such, we are now in the midst of requesting this, which is a lease, okay, through BB&T and ACCG to actually fund what we already have approved in the budget, though those amounts are on an annual basis versus the overall dollars that we'll be securing from BB&T.
I did not catch, what is the interest rate?
The interest rate that we will be paying is the 2.18.
That's one of the reasons why we're doing it, because it's not free money, but that interest rate is
Very close.
close to leveraging.
No penalty of payment and so forth.
Yeah. So it's a way to, it's an inexpensive way to fund what we already have budgeted.
That's correct.
Motion.
Make a motion that we approve alternative number 1 and approve as submitted.
Second. We have a motion by Commissioner Jones, second by Commissioner Lumber. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Next item, consideration to approve to appoint a voting delegate for the business session during the legislative leadership conference.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. The Legislative Leadership Conference is a forum for you as members to vote on the final ACCG county platform. The Legislative Conference will be held Thursday, October 8th, beginning October 8th through Friday, October 9th. This meeting will be held October 8th at 4:45, and they are asking each county to appoint a delegate for that meeting.
Commissioner Lumber, am I correct that you have done this in the past?
Yes.
Is it your desire
We
to
did.
volunteer to do that again?
Yes, yes.
Unless anybody does.
I make a motion to appoint Commissioner Lover as the voting delegate.
Second.
Motion and a second. Motion by Commissioner Kiefer, second by Commissioner Jones. All in favor? Any opposed? So carried. That is the last item of business. Let me ask, are there any staff here that has any reports to give other than Mr. Allen? All right, I have attorneys in the audience that we need to meet with. I have a motion to go ahead into executive session. Make a motion later.
Make a motion to go to executive session, discuss personnel, property, and litigation. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Kiefer, second by Commissioner Deloach. All in favor? Any opposed? We stand so adjourned. All right, next item, consideration to approve the July 21st, 2015 executive session minutes. Y'all got it?
No. Make a motion to approve the minutes as presented. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Kiefer, second by Commissioner Deloach to approve as written. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. All right. Mr. Allen, do we have any, thing you want to discuss? Committee report?
Very briefly, Mr. Chairman, Thursday, August 20th, 9/11, Savannah Civic Center is a draft map review meeting for the new flood maps coming out. If anybody's interested, would like to attend that. And the stated reports address will be September 24th, 10:30 to 1:30, Savannah National Trade and Convention Center. And John Henry sent an email earlier to David. He had tickets available. If any of y'all would like to go, I don't know how many he has. I have no idea. He sent in an invitation, so if you all will.
I'll always go.
Okay. Anybody else interested?
When is that?
September
Thursday.
International Trade Information Center, it's not where it'll be.
10:30, I doubt seriously. Reggie represents us very well.
Well, I'll tell Mr. Henry that, or Mr. Johnson, whatever one, but again, he asked it, he invited John. So if you'd like to go, we'll pass it along, I'll let it go. I make it,
That's so far in advance.
nobody else does. And that's all I have.
That's it?
Yes, sir. That's it.
Very briefly, I'd like to remind you all about the appointments for the hospital authority. That's kind of gone by the wayside. We still need to make those appointments.
Everybody?
No,
I need one.
your person filled an expiring term, I believe, so they'll have to be reappointed. I'll double check it. It's the first, third, and fourth.
Yeah, I'm just, go check. Just renewed, I thought.
I'll double check.
And we don't have term on it. We can select somebody that's not in our district, right? As long as I've got one. I want to go to the 5th district, go to 3rd district, I can appoint, them, right?
I will double check on that too. I'm not-
Well, some things we can't do that, but that was an agreement we made years ago, I guess it's still in effect. Someone has to come from first, a certain GM district.
Whoever sent them out to you before, so I can just send them again, or they rejected the ones that I sent in, or?
Well,
I
that's
don't know, this is
the
round
thing.
two.
What do you know?
We send them 3 and they can reject
That's right.
all of them.
That's right. Three.
I remember.
Put 3.
Did they reject?
Go, they have to pick one out of 3.
No.
No, the second time you have to reject all 3, then you have to give 3 new.
Because Rick Raptors,
And then they have to pick it
I
out.
had him on my list, resubmitted him. I wouldn't figure his name.
I thought
He's the
we,
chairman of it.
I thought we sent them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to fill this out.
Yes, please. You can fill it out, please.
Can we check yes since we received on the 3rd one? Or income does not count as the regular monthly? Okay.
All right, anybody got anything else? Somebody give me a motion. And let's go home.
Did we vote?
We did.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Jones, second by Commissioner Deloach to adjourn. All in favor? None opposing?